me drafted by the Chicago Sky to play for the Windy City. My sister and I have always had an incredible bond. She can't hear, she doesn't see. It's so much more than just talking. It's about touch, and it's about other senses. We have to be with each other, one-on-one. This one was my first state title, and Lizzie was there because she only showed up for the most important games. Lizzie has always been my strength, but going away to play college basketball meant that I had to say goodbye, and I just wasn't ready. I gave up the game I love. Everybody thinks I came home to take care of her, but she was the one helping me, getting me out of the worst rut of my life. She gives me perspective. If you close your eyes and you can't hear anything, and wind comes across your face and blows your hair, it makes you feel a certain way. To her, it's just pure joy, and it's incredible to watch something that simple make her so happy. She brought me back. I can remember that first time I touched the ball again, and that love was right there. I'll step outside after a rough practice, feel the wind, and it's like, oh, there you are, Liz. Liz has taught me so much. You don't focus on what you don't have. You celebrate what you do.
Now, if you don't know, there's only 6 giant media corporations in America right now. There used to be 50, like right around 1980, 50 giant media corporations. You could work for either one, and 1996 Telecommunications Act that Bill Clinton passed got rid of all the ownership restrictions, so now we have 6 companies that own all the media in America. 6. And right now I'm going to play a clip this is from 2014, Chris Cuomo talking about Hillary Clinton, getting her in the race. Keep in mind, Time Warner is Hillary's 8th largest donor. Just keep that in mind. Time Warner. And I'm not saying, you think I'm kidding when I say that there's only 6, they all own each other. Before the Clintons, media monopolies were illegal. Before the Clintons, media monopolies were illegal. After the Clintons, we now have companies like Time Warner /AOL /CNN /Turner Broadcasting /Castle Rock /Time Warner Cable /HBO /Music. Any company with that many slashes deserves to be slashed up. They're all owned by the same freaking thing. So here we go. This is from 2014. It's Chris Cuomo. Works for a company, 8th largest donor to Hillary Clinton.
Brianna Keeler, thank you very much. We'll be talking about this later on in the morning. But just quickly to your point, if she does take quite a while longer, what happens to other folks who want a chance to run against her?
Because they're talking about Hillary. This is in 2014. Is Hillary going to get in? Is she going to get out? And I was going to make a point about the donors. That they're all good. Here we go.
They call in politics freezing pockets because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't. And I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way.
So freezing pockets. He's talking about big donors, they're going to give the money to Hillary. They give it to her. If she doesn't run, now they got no money to give to the other people. He's called freezing pockets. So one of the axioms of journalism is follow the money, and Chris Cuomo just followed the money all the way back to CNN. Their pockets were frozen. CNN's the 8th largest donor. Time Warner. So here we go.
To deciding.
We'll see.
Deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
She's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign, so it better happen. Coming.
Sounds like quite an endorsement.
We've been giving her a free ride. CNN giving a free ride to Hillary Clinton finally proves the media isn't liberal.
Yeah.
Get it?
He sounds like an investor. Like, boy, she better not let us down.
I know.
We put in some work here already. Like a parent whose kid might not go to college. Like, ooh,
They've given her a free ride.
Yeah.
You know, the CNN free ride includes media blackouts to her opponent, who still won half the Democratic primary voters. I'm going to play that again. Let's play it again, because that's pretty awesome, but I just want to take it from where Chris Cuomo starts talking.
Because she's doing what they call in politics freezing pockets. Because the donors are giving her money thinking she's going to run. That means they're not going to have available money for other candidates if she doesn't. And I don't think she's going to give it to them.
She's on her way to deciding.
We'll see.
About deciding.
We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
I mean, she's got just a free ride so far from the media. We're the biggest ones promoting her campaign, so it better happen.
You know, even with a free ride from CNN, Hillary still might not arrive at her destination because she's always going in the wrong direction. And it's odd that a candidate who deregulated corporate media is the favorite of that corporate media. Isn't that wild? That's weird. That is wild. Weird, wild, weird. So there you go. And by the way, maybe if you guys didn't give her such a free ride before the primary, maybe she would be a better candidate. Maybe she would have never got past Bernie Sanders. Maybe more people would have gotten to the race. Maybe if instead of giving her a free ride and doing everything you can to help her, maybe if you told everybody, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, she's horrible. She's a warmonger, one of the worst. You guys rejected her back in 2008. Remember that? There was a reason. That's wild, right? Isn't that wild? Like he knows the term freezing pockets and what that means and the ramifications of freezing pockets. He knows the ins and outs of all that stuff, but he doesn't realize I shouldn't say we've done everything we can to help her.
Right.
He doesn't know he shouldn't say that.
Well,
but again, that's why I don't think Chris Cuomo is evil or that's just who he is. He's sincere, I think, earnest.
Like journalists are supposed to be antagonistic to the powerful. At least that's the theory. Right, in order to keep the population informed and so they can operate a better democracy. And this is, to use a tired analogy, this is just horse race. Like horse race announcers, it's just the media. They know horse racing really well. They're in the same system.
Yeah.
This is just the mouthpiece of the cyclical government / corporate control of the entire economy. That's all it is. They're not, and like.
I mean, it's just horrible that they are the 8th largest donor to her campaign. He says something like that. That's what's right. There's only 6 goddamn media companies in the whole country anyway.
Right.
I mean, everything smells in this culture of corruption. Everything.
Yeah. They're all tentacles linked to the same.
Yes, they're all. It's all the same to this upper 5% that they're all interwoven with their ugly business, cheating on the backs of workers,
Expensive suits,
extracting money from workers.
Yeah,
that's what's been happening. By the way. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. Enjoy it. Get used to 4 more years of that. private prisons is a big deal in America. Gary Johnson, who's a libertarian, championed that when he was governor. Private prisons, I can't think of a more unbelievably disgusting, anti-human thing to do. Hey, how do you make your money? Locking people up. I lock them inside buildings and stuff for a living. I implement human torture for profit. Now, I understand it's a job. You got to do it. There's got to be a job. But to put the profit, it's like you're not supposed to make money off war. You shouldn't make money off that. But that's capitalism rules, and we have private prisons. So recently, the New York Times reported this. Privately run Mississippi prison called a scene of horror, and it's shut down. Get out. You mean without any state supervision? I mean, so they've done those experiments, the Stanford experiments, where they took college kids, they told them they were going to be in an experiment, and that they just randomly assigned some were guards, some were prisoners, and within 24 hours they started abusing them. Even they knew where they were an experiment, they're college kids. So you need a short leash, these prisons. So what happened? It's at a privately operated Mississippi prison that a federal judge once concluded was effectively run by gangs in collusion with corrupt prison guards, closed Thursday. Its prisoners transferred to the other state facilities, officials said. Isn't that great? So criminal cops arrest people for being criminals, and then they put them in a criminal prison system run by other criminals. We have a corrupt criminal justice system in America, and everybody knows it, and nobody really cares. And now we're like, let's give it to some shysters to make money off it. Conditions at the prison, the Walnut Grove Correctional Facility, were deemed so substandard by Judge Carlton Reeves of Federal District Court that he wrote in a 2012 settlement order that it, quote, paints a picture of such horror as should be unrealized anywhere in the civilized world. That's happening in America. Our superior culture, you know how the terrorists are animals. This is what we do in America. By the way, we lock up more people in China. We're the land of the free, home of the brave. We can't lock up enough of our poor people and brown people. We can't lock them up fast enough. We're in an oppressive society. We're so much better, our culture. Look, paints a picture of such horror as should be unrealized anywhere in the civilized world. Happening right here in America. For money. The Mississippi Department of Corrections said in June that it had decided to shutter Walnut Grove not because of the often unrestrained violence at the facility, but for budget cuts. Remember, Eric Garner got choked to death on the street, broad daylight, for selling Lucy's.
And the guy who filmed him's going to jail.
The guy who filmed him's in jail.
Yeah.
Yep. The 1,260-bed facility had been operating since 2012 under a federal consent decree for violating prisoners' constitutional rights. And in 2014, Walnut Grove was the scene of two major riots. Conditions in a number of Mississippi's correctional facilities have been denounced by prison overhaul advocates or enjoined by the federal authorities for violating inmates' constitutional rights. But Walnut Grove was cited as a particularly brutal and often lawless place. In 2012, the Justice Department report found that rape of younger inmates by older prisoners was relatively common. Guards habitually denied some prisoners access to medical care. Habitually denied medical care. Like a habit. While smuggling in weapons and drugs and having sexual relationship with others. Wow, isn't that what I'm talking about? Sounds like the Secret Service. We live in a corrupt culture. No one goes to jail. If you don't put Richard Nixon in jail, if you don't put the Enron-Contra people in jail, if you don't put the people who crashed our economy in jail and stuffed their pockets and were criminals who built a business on fraud, if you don't put people in jail who started an illegal war on a pack of lies, if you don't put people in jail who ordered war crimes, torture on a global scale, if you don't so power is corrupt and at every corner of this country, of our culture. That's why Bernie Sanders said we need a revolution. Our whole goddamn culture is corrupt.
You know, you could say this about any prison in the United States.
I have a feeling.
I mean, right now, even in state of California, I believe the capacity is at 300% in our jails.
Well, right now they have the biggest prison strike going on right now. Where that's another video we're going to do. So look for that. About they literally have slave labor in America, and they're treating them horribly, and these guys are starting to strike. That's a different video. So let's stay this one. Some of the guards were themselves members of gangs, including at least one prison supervisor who let prisoners out of their cells to assault unsuspecting rivals. Kind of a Mad Max. They also organized gladiator-style fights between prisoners, and encouraged by guards were also a frequent occurrence, with guards betting on the outcomes, according to the report. So they'd set up like bum fights, but they're prisoner fights, and they'd bet on them. Like, just the lack of, there's just no humanity. I just immediately devolve into animals. Didn't
I see Paul Newman in that film, Cool Hand Luke, that did is examining just this, the corruption within the prison systems?
At the same time, the neighboring town of Walnut Grove, population 1,900, boomed from prison revenue and employment. The town lobbied to be the site of a prison after its major employer, a glove factory, was closed. We make gloves, or we rape little kids, and we have a torture factory. We have Listen to this. Even after juveniles were removed from the facility, violence continued. There were juveniles there? Even after we got... Because it was the juveniles causing all the violence?
So weird.
What is that? That even makes sense.
Maybe they're saying they're the easiest victims.
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean.
Yeah. As an example of the close ties between the prison and the town of Walnut Grove's mayor, William Grady Sims, served for a time as the prison's warden. And in 2009, Mr. Sims drove a female inmate to a motel room where they had sex. He later told the woman to lie to investigators about it, and Mr. Sims was convicted and sentenced to 7 months in a federal prison. Why didn't they send him to that prison?
Yeah, put him in there.
Why did they put him in there and let the other gang members beat the crap out of him? Maybe rape him. So there you go. I think private prisons are a great idea. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. So that's our culture. That's just America. This is our culture. We imprison more people than the rest of the world. We have 5% of the world's population. We imprison 25% of the world's prisoners. We imprison more people than frickin' China. But we respect life. We respect life. That's why we're living in this culture we're living in. That's why cops can shoot you with impunity. That's why when you want to protest Wall Street, they crack your head open. They make you crack your head open. They corral you like animals. They make you kneel on concrete. That's what they did in L.A. They took the people protesting Wall Street, made them kneel in a parking garage on concrete for hours till they passed out or urinated on themselves. Oh, those people sued and they got paid millions of dollars. Nothing happened to those cops, and those millions of dollars came from our tax revenue. So we have this out-of-control culture, this out-of-control criminal justice system in America, and nobody really seems to be doing anything about it. So this is like stuff you would read in books or see in movies. Our whole goddamn culture is corrupt. And it all started with Jimmy Carter pardoning Richard Nixon. That might sound funny. But that is how it started. Now powerful people aren't held accountable. Who pointed that out? Rachel Maddow
I think it was
pointed
Rachel
that out?
Maddow because it would divide the country, and
it would
we'd
divide
never
the
be able to
country.
bounce back from that.
And we've never gone on to prosecute anybody after that. You know, at least when the savings and loan crisis happened in the late 80s, they put a couple hundred bankers in jail.
Oh, I miss those days.
Now, nothing. I mean, did you see? Go watch Netflix and get the Big Short. The whole business built on fraud. They defraud their own customers. They're still doing it. We just did another video. They had to fire 5,000 people from Wells Fargo. Anyway, the whole goddamn culture, I don't want to get off on banking. That's another thing. There you go, Mississippi. Superior culture we have. Hey, everybody, starting to realize Colin Kaepernick got it right. Tim Tebow weighed in. That's another video. Now, guess who's weighing in this time on Colin Kaepernick? It's Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers. I saw this from Sporting News. They have a blue check. That's from Twitter. They have a blue check. That's their legitimate news place. Says, Sporting News exclusive, Aaron Rodgers doesn't see eye to eye with Colin Kaepernick, and here's why. And then there's a link. I was like, oh, that Aaron Rodgers boy. So I clicked that link, and here's what it showed me. Here's what the Packers QB had to say. To me, the flag represents the greatest ideals of the United States of America. Not the worst. But different people look at different things and have different feelings about it. That's what freedom of expression is all about. Sounds like he does see eye to eye with Kaepernick on it. Sounds like, hey, I don't agree with the way he views the flag, but I agree with his right to say it, that's the point of America. So that was that's a little clickbaity, right? Was that what you would call that, Hank? Because I was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers kind of being a jerk. And then no, he's being exactly the kind of American you should. He sees the flag as it represents the good parts of America, and but he understands how someone else, maybe a black guy in America, yeah, would maybe have a different view. He gets it. So that's what it sounded like to me, like Aaron Rodgers gets it.
I mean, there's a sort of an implication there that he doesn't agree with what the meaning, because he's not really talking about whether he should be.
Well, he says that. He
right?
says, but different people look at different things and have different feelings about it. That's what freedom of expression is all about.
Right, right. But it's like him almost saying
he's doing that thing. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'll fight for your right to say it. That's what America's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's what the veterans. That's why our veterans went to Iraq.
So we could have freedom.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to speak.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this.
The last war where that was true, World War II.
World War II was the last war that might have even.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
there was a risk down the road.
Was there ever a risk of Japan taking over America and occupying us?
The Germans controlling Europe would be a pretty substantial risk.
Yeah, but I don't think it would affect our freedom of speech here.
I know. But I'm just saying, at the point where it got this, the closest it ever got was that Hitler almost had England.
Yeah, right.
In comparison,
he had France.
Yeah, right.
Those France, they knuckled right under.
Yeah,
and look at them now.
Huh? Having great weather.
Having great weather.
Yeah,
with their great food.
Sorry, I don't want to distract.
I want to go there.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't?
Go to Paris and eat.
Yeah, I would express myself all over those menus.
I would get so fat.
I already am.
I would get fatter than
on French food.
Anyway, okay, Aaron Rodgers, I kind of like what he said.
I mean, essentially, NFL players, though, they're kind of being forced to do what Skittles is doing this week with...
Everybody has to have an opinion on it?
Well, they just have to address it because everybody's putting it in their face.
Yeah.
And, I mean, in a way, that's... Right there is white privilege, is just being able to remark on it from a distant, from a safe distance, where it doesn't actually influence your life or those around you or your friends, the people in your orbit. So he just gets to take this position, and I'm not crapping on him. I actually think this is a pretty reasonable approach. But I don't know. The ones that resonate with me are the people that go, yeah, of course he's right. There's huge issues here, and his country doesn't treat black people the proper way. So anyway,
all right, good for you, Aaron.
Good for him.
Good for you.
You did this?
We did.
Think you'll get in trouble for it?
We do.
So why'd you do it?
We've had screw detail all week. We just wanted to break the routine.
You ever think about playing scratch-off games from the New York lottery to break the routine?
We did not. Does it look cool?
Take a break from the expected. Play scratch-off games from the New York lottery.
Hey, Colin Kaepernick being proven right every day. Every day being proven right, Colin Kaepernick, who's the guy who's not standing for the national anthem in protest of how African Americans are being treated by police culture in America. At first, he got a lot of pushback, but now people are starting to realize that a lot of soldiers, a lot of veterans came out, a lot of important people with stature came out and supported him. I was wondering what Tim Tebow thought. Were you? Tank, were you thinking about what Tim Tebow thought?
I always wonder what Tim Tebow's thinking.
Oh, well, you know what? We're in luck.
Oh.
Because BSO is a website. They have that Tim Tebow wants Colin Kaepernick to protest in the right way.
Oh.
This is from today, September 20th. So what did he say? I'm like, what did he say?
He must have some good tips.
Here's what he said. He said, when people have belief in something or a conviction in something, trying to stand for that is a good thing, Tebow said, according to the USA Today's Bob Nightingale. It's all about standing for it the right way. And that's it. That's all the quote. That's all. That's the only quote we have.
How do you decide when it's the right way, Tebow?
So that's what I like, right? It's like, dude, you have freedom of expression, but you have to express it the way I like.
Yeah.
The way a white man of privilege would.
The right way. You have the freedom to do what you want if you do it the way we want it.
Not in the way that escalates conversation and perhaps changes people's minds, but the right way, the way that goes away.
This fucking jagoff who spent his whole career kneeling down.
Yeah, he performed.
That's a performance.
He did it in the right way.
He did it in the right way, though. Tim Tebow did. Kneeling down. So that, again, that's that thing of, I'm going to give lip service to freedom of speech, but everybody knows that black guy's wrong.
Yeah.
We all know that guy. That's disgusting. How dare you?
Saying the word right is, you're saying wrong by inference. I mean, he's saying he's not doing it. Yeah.
Yes. So. It's all about standing for it in the right way. Yeah, but and it's also a cowardly move. Say what you mean. Don't be, why are you being so vague? Oh, I don't know, maybe he's a little gutless. That's shocking for an overly religious guy in public. Whenever someone's overly religious in public, you know there's something wrong with that guy. They are hiding a deep, dark secret. If there's something wrong with Tim Tebow, deeply wrong with him. He's got a deep, deep secret. You're going to find out he's got bodies buried under his house or something. You're going to find out. I'm just saying it as a joke.
Well, I'm sure there's lots of tape on his webcam.
I'm sure there's lots of tape on his webcam.
No, go ahead.
I could say his body's buried underneath his house, like as a joke, right? It's not, you can't sue me for that, can you?
Yeah, well, those bodies, they
Are you saying it in the right way?
Oh, I have to say it in the right way.
Plus, the bodies disappear in 3 days.
Oh, why do you say that?
The Christians.
The Christians, that's right.
I couldn't think of the right. What do they call that? Resurrection?
That's a resurrection.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's also what they call a guy who gets a boner after 70.
So I have this millennial friend named Eric, and I follow him on Snapchat, right? Now this dude's always posting from the club, and I get total FOMO when I watch it because every chick is like in underwear, and they're grinding, and all of it looks a lot more fun than my life, which consists of reading my kids a Pete the Cat book and passing out in my son's race car bed every night. So one night he snaps me like these 4 chicks, and he's like, "Get your ass to the club. It's gonna be lit." So I'm like, you know what? I need an adventure. I call Uber. So I get in the Uber. Meanwhile, the driver figures out I work in entertainment and immediately pitches me a script called Compton Leprechaun. And I'm like, yo, dude, that film was already made. It was called Leprechaun in the Hood. Look it up. And I like broke the dude's heart. Anyway, he drops me off at the club, and there's like 50 dudes in line, all wearing leather sweatpants, snapbacks, those weird drop-tail t-shirts, and I look like a dick because I'm wearing jeans and cowboy boots. And I get inside, I meet up with Eric, and he introduces me to a chick named Smashley, who is insanely hot and half naked. And he's like, yo, dog, all them hoes thirsty in here. And the DJ starts playing Where You Ass Is At by Future. None of it made sense. Because when I went to the club, the girls were the bomb. They had names like Heather, and the DJ played Getting Jiggy With It. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, everyone around me's taking butt selfies and Snapchatting, so I gotta get a drink. I go to the bar, and Eric's like, yo, get me 2 Coronas. Then Smashy says, get me a purple drink. And I go to the bartender, I'm like, what kind of nice red wine do you have? You know, do you have anything nice with some tannins, a nice finish, not too acidic? And Eric's like, yo, they ain't got that shit. You gotta get yourself a Bud Light. So I do, and then Eric's like, drop that corporate card, son. So I do, and 4 drinks end up costing me $91. Then Eric starts Snapchatting, and I'm like, yo, what's up? Trying to be cool, but I just look stupid, and Smashley's blowing kisses and sticking her tongue out and dancing. So I turn to a girl next to me, and she's like, oh my god, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 40. Thinking she'd go for that old guy vibe, you know? She says, oh my god, can I see that mom, bitch? So I turn to Eric, and I'm like, I'm out. The next day, I looked at his Snapchat, and it was exactly what you'd expect. Okay, 2 dudes getting thrown out of the club for riding hoverboards inside. 2 girls fighting, pulling each other's weaves off at 4 in the morning. And then finally, Smashley asleep in the dog bed at Eric's place. So the next day I get up, my wife was like, hey, how was your big night out? I looked at her and I said, it was lit? And I had no idea what I was talking about.
Now, I don't know if you're paranoid like I am. You know the government's watching you. You know the government's watching you. But do you put tape over your? People are like, oh, they can watch you through your camera on your computer. That is such. What are you guys? You guys are paranoid. Whoa, the FBI guy. Even the FBI guy says to do it. They ask.
Well, he said he does it.
Yes, the director of the FBI recommends cover. They ask. He goes, heck yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, look at him. He doesn't look good naked.
And also, I get mocked for a lot of things, much mocked for that, but I hope people lock their cars, lock your doors at night. I have an alarm system.
Yeah.
He says if you have an alarm system, you should use it. I use mine. It's not crazy that the FBI director cares about personal security as well. So he puts the tape over his thing. In fact, he goes on to say that I think people ought to be taking personal responsibility for their own safety and security. So there are some sensible things you ought to be doing, and that's one of them, putting tape over the camera on your frickin' computer. Why?
No, well, unless you've been working out, in which case you should put a better lens.
That's what I'm saying. I'm very proud of myself.
Get better lighting. Yeah.
They can look at me. I'm very proud of myself.
I did 10 push-ups last week.
Very proud. You want to get some below? You want to go below the belt line? I'll show it.
Well,
I'll give you an Anthony Weiner next to my kid's head.
Oh.
In fact, Comey goes on to say that it was common practice at the FBI and any government office to use physical covers over webcams.
I'm so glad this is just coming out in 2016.
You go into any government office, we all have our little camera things that sit on top of the screen, Director James Comey said. They'll all have a little lid that closes down on them. You do that so the people who don't have authority don't look at you. I think that's a good thing. Hey, by the way, you know who else puts the tape over his thing? Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Face Fuck himself. Huh?
Yeah, you know he does. That just occurs to me. I assume that as this enters the public consciousness more, we're going to see a physical cover built into laptop designs now.
You would think.
It's kind of. I mean, there's nothing alarming to me about this at all. Are you trying to take the notion of, oh my God, we're all, or more just like, holy shit, what have we lost?
Like, oh my God, I thought people were paranoid who did that stuff. It turns out, no, you're supposed to do that.
Well, it's weirdly flattering of yourself, but it's definitely possible that someone can activate your thing if they know how to access your computer. Yeah.
I'm sure it's a lot easier because all you have to do is hack into someone's Wi-Fi,
right?
And you're in.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to hack into someone's Wi-Fi. But what's my passcode?
It's Hank
Comedy. Comedy 1988. Exclamation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's not too hard to hack. I'm sure people can figure out what
with the proper base of knowledge and the proper incentive motive. I mean, people can find the instructions pretty easily.
I'm sure people can figure it out. What my path? If somebody wanted to hack me, they could hack me.
I think what protects most of us though is that it's just the overall amount of clutter. There's just so many computers. There's so many devices,
and there's so many
statistics. It's kind of like being mugged. And not that I'm dismissing the danger of that, or you know what I mean.
There's too many places you have to sign in with a passcode and a username.
Yeah.
I just can't take it. And now I know people have to do it for our premium.
Sure.
I know. I don't know. There's no way around stuff. Like I have this new thing that's supposed to keep all your passcodes. It's the one passcode thing. Sean James is setting me up on it. I still don't understand how it works. It's still really hard for me to understand.
Yeah. There's a distant future where we all don't have to worry about that, and there's some sort of solution. But our culture hasn't figured that out yet.
So who's looking at me? Who's coming into my world?
Who knows, right? But anybody can come hack into you, and then, for instance, the government can. Like if I'm, for instance, let's say I was a dissident, and I was like, right now, let's say I was organizing against the TPP. Well, those oil companies have lots of money. They put private investigators on dissidents and people who are agitating.
Yeah.
And they do stuff like that all the time. I'm sure Hillary Clinton and Correct the Record and they have the endless money. Wall Street, military industrial, they have endless money to get, stuff. And that's what they can hack in, get a picture of you, or see what you're doing.
The same goes for microphones. I mean, that's really more penetrating.
And they can listen
camera because it picks up the whole room noise.
Oh my God!
And it's no different than just recording a digital signal off of a device. The Edward Snowden thing on HBO.
Yeah,
was that? Am I getting that right?
I don't know.
With Glenn Greenwald, and they're in the hotel in Hong Kong. It's pretty tense.
Yeah,
and I didn't see it. It was out a year or two ago. He gets into that a little bit about like how cell phones and the hotel. They can easily figure out what room they're in, and then turn on the speaker microphone on the phone that's on the nightstand.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is like Cloaks and Daggers with Edward Snowden in a documentary.
Oh,
it's not
we should watch that.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, and I want to see the new Oliver Stone movie, but
I hear that's a little slow moving.
Oh, really? Oh, well, so am I.
I also understand that they think it's a very good defense for him to be finally, what would be the word for it? Like not found innocent, but he'd be excused, or
he'll be pardoned.
Rather.
Yeah, that'll never happen. That's never going to happen. They're never going to pardon that guy because he's given secrets about the people in government who are committing crimes.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen. They want to get that guy. Who would they pardon? They would pardon, drug kingpins and bankers and people who make big donations to their campaigns. That's what they pardon.
And he's already pardoned by not prosecuting, like Bush, Cheney, the Wall
Street
are big
crooks. Those guys. How could you prosecute him and not prosecute Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney, and George Bush for war crimes?
Yeah,
I mean, they'll do it. How could you? Because they have no conscience or integrity.
Mm-hmm.
That's how.
Yeah.
Barack Obama didn't even prosecute freaking torturers.
It would have created a political firestorm around. It would have been in the news cycle.
It's impolite.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You can't actually hold people accountable who are, powerful.
No, not at all. But I also think this means Director James Comey beats off at work.
Ha! Let's see. Do you think he looks like that kind of a guy? Oh, he's showing you his hands.
Pretty standard dude. He's pretty general issue.
I will say this: the guy stood up to, not stood up to Ashcroft, but stood up to Gonzalez and George Bush and Dick Cheney. Well, so James Comey did that. So good for him.
Good.
knows that American politics are broken because they're owned by money, which is why when Bernie Sanders says we should have the same health care as the rest of the world, and people go, that will never happen. It's fairy dust. It's fairy dust. You can't have the same health care as they have in Canada, in America, in the richest, most powerful country in the world. And you know why we can't? Because our government's bought. That's why. And why do I bring this up? Because Citizens United even opened up the door to foreign money coming into our elections, which is supposed to be illegal, but it's happening all the time. In fact, here's from Alternate. First evidence surfaces of foreign money pouring into U.S. elections after Citizens United. And then right underneath that, it says, 6 years ago, President Obama warned the nation that foreign corporations could soon pour money into the U.S. election system thanks to the Supreme Court Citizens United. Do you remember during the State of the Union he said that, and they cut to Alito going, remember that? Do you remember that was kind of famous? That,
Yes.
No, that's wrong. Well, of course Alito was wrong. Of course he's wrong. And of course that's happening. But I don't bring this up because of that. Foreign monies that's coming into our elections. That's unbelievable, by the way. But I saw this.
I just want to say, Jimmy, that your impression of Alito was very spot on.
I saw this. The United States wants the Australian system reformed to remove the influence of Chinese political donations. This is from CBS News. CBS News, the headline, U.S. shocked by China's undue influence in major allies' politics. U.S. is shocked that China is having influence in Australian politics. Domestic opposition and now the U.S. government pushing Australia's government to rethink foreign political donations. Isn't that hilarious? So why is this funny? Because I went to CBSNews.com and I looked that stuff up, and it says the American ambassador to Australia has voiced U.S. concerns over China's impact on Australian politics. The American ambassador is a little upset with the undue influence of foreign money in Australia's politics, saying the United States wants the system reformed to remove the influence of Chinese political donations. It's kind of ballsy telling other people what to do. We're the biggest corrupt system in the world. Our system. Completely. There's videos we've showed you. They've proven that legislation only gets passed if the top 10% of earners in America want it. Bottom 90% has no correlation to legislation. Zero. Goes on, Ambassador John Barry. I wonder how much he gave the Clinton Foundation so he could become an ambassador to Australia. Because that's another story we're going to do about how much money people gave and then they became ambassadors, how much they gave to... So Ambassador John Barry said in an interview with the Australian newspaper that the United States is, quote, surprised by the amount of Chinese money and influence in Australian politics and wants Australia to resolve the foreign donation. Come on, you guys, clean up your act. Meanwhile, we don't even have the health care you guys do because we're so corrupt in America.
Is anybody else worried here that they keep being surprised by the influence of another government in politics? Like they have no intelligence?
It's supposed to be, well, they're saying that they're giving money to the politicians, just like they're doing, by the way, in America now, because of Citizens United. That is happening. Why we don't have a government that responds to the voters anymore. It's only to the donors, and now lots of them are foreign. So I'm going to read this to you one more time, and it'll become clear why I'm doing that. Ambassador John Barry said in an interview with the Australian newspaper that the United States is surprised by the amount of Chinese money and influence in Australian politics and wants Australia to resolve the foreign donation issue. Now, this next thing was written, and the embassy confirmed in a statement that Barry had been accurately quoted in the interview. They're like, wait a minute, there's no way this. They're like, wait a minute, he didn't say that. Come on. He didn't. Come on.
Are you sure you want us to publish that?
Did Chris Christie tell us to cut back on our carbs? Come on. What? That's like this. That's what this is.
Yeah. That's going like, all right, last chance. Okay,
This is it.
we're doing it. Your funeral, dumbass. You're a long flight home, idiot.
So now there is the head of the Labour Party in Australia. He's the first Iranian, by the way, to get in problem. The Prime Minister pointed to a Chinese language news report that quoted him, Dastari, as saying the South China Sea is China's own affair. Now, what does that have to do? That's because he's taking money from China. And that's what they're saying. Look, this guy's taking money from China, and they paid for some of his airfare and some other stuff. Now he's saying stuff that's favorable to China. That statement contradicted both the government and the opposition's foreign policy position that China should respect international law in territorial disputes. So the government of Australia and the opposition's foreign policy position in Australia is that China should respect international law in territorial disputes. But this guy, the head of the Labour Party, Dastani, or however you say his name, is taking money from the Chinese, and now he says, hey, it's none of our business. Well, that contradicts. So the Prime Minister accused Dastari, who has been dubbed Shanghai Sam, of saying what Chinese donors paid him to say. Sounds very familiar to what happens in America. Isn't that amazing? Oh, so if someone gives you money, then it's more than likely you're going to say what they want you to say, even if you're in government? That's weird. Barry said the United States hopes that, this is our ambassador, Barry says the United States hopes that Australia will protect its core responsibilities against undue influence from governments that don't share our values. This is from The Intercept. Foreign money is flowing into the United States elections, Alito's lying lips notwithstanding. And from that article, it says, we cannot conceive of a case where a foreign donation from any government, friend or foe, would be considered legitimate in terms of that democracy. So you're not supposed to take any money ever in elections for foreign. We're doing it here in the United States, but we're wagging our finger at Australia. It's weird. And you wonder why people felt like they needed a revolution, because our whole culture is corrupt. And that's why they're like, we had to double check to make sure that was an accurate quote. Are we actually telling other countries how to get the undue influence of money out of their elections? Let's double check. Let's call the ambassador and make sure that's what he said, because I'm pretty sure. Literally, that's like Chris Christie's telling people to cut back on their carbs. Donald Trump is petitioning people to be more racially sensitive. And the Americans want other countries to get the undue influence of foreign cash out of their elections. I'm here with comedian Ron Placone and Hank Thompson, and we're talking about Bill Clinton got caught again. Well, he keeps getting caught lying about his wife's health, right? So we showed you yesterday in another video about how on CBS, when he was being interviewed on CBS, he said that Hillary has had these passing out episodes frequently. He said frequently, I mean rarely. Guess what? CBS cut that out of their news program. Literally. We showed it. Go look at they literally cut that out. The next day, and they said they cut it out for time. You know how much tape they cut out? 1.9 seconds from that interview. And it was the 1.9 seconds where he said she frequently used to have these passing out episodes. Took 1.9 seconds, and they cut it out. They said for time. Oh my God. Oh my God. So there you go. That's called access journalism. That's Bill Clinton saying, hey, take that out. And they said, sure, no problem, Mr. President. We'll take it out because we want you to come back on our show. And so they took that out where he slipped because they're lying. They're still lying about her health. They said she only had 2 episodes where she passed out in her entire life. That is a lie. And we showed how they lied because they keep contradicting themselves, right? And here's another Bill. Bill's just so used to lying, he can't get the lie straight. Have you ever known people like that? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been lying and you're like, oh shit, I forgot I lied about that and I just lied the wrong way? Have you ever had that happen? Here we go. Here's Bill Clinton. Here we go.
Look, I'm glad to have a chance to stand in for Hillary today. She did it for me for a long time. It's about time I showed up and did it for her. But I just talked to her. She's feeling great, and I think she'll be back out there tomorrow. So it's a crazy time we live in, when people think there's something unusual about getting the flu. Last time I checked, millions of people were getting it every year. But
yeah, she didn't get the flu, Bill. The lie now is that she has pneumonia. That's the problem.
She got walking flu.
She didn't get the flu, Bill. Millions of people she didn't get what she has. She has a special kind of pneumonia. The kind that's not infectious. What kind is that? The kind Parkinson's patients get. And I can speculate on that because they keep lying about it. Isn't that funny? First we caught him saying she frequently passed out. Wait, check that, cut that out of our broadcast. And now he's pretending it's the flu. He's getting the wrong lie. He's like, oh, damn, that's right. It's not, damn. It's not the flu. Damn. Isn't that weird?
Well, that is, first of all, really irresponsible journalism, because 1.9 seconds, we talked about this. They got plenty of time to fill. They got 24 hours, and they're not even filling it well. They got nothing but time, so that's a load. And if it was a misspeak on his part, they should have clarified. They should have been like, well, wait a second.
You're talking about the CBS clip. You're talking about the CBS clip.
They should have clarified, and that all should have been aired. Well, what did you mean, frequently or infrequently?
Right.
Let's clarify there. If you just misspoke, here's your chance to fix it. If you didn't, well, let's talk.
What do you think about this with the flu?
I mean, again, that should have been called too. I mean, he's making a speech in that situation. Right. So it's not like he's being interviewed.
But it's weird. It's like, no, Bill, it's the pneumonia, and to me, it's like he got the lie wrong. It's like they got the lie wrong again, right? So it just tells me they're covering up still for something for her health, right?
Yeah, he's trying to dilute the urgency of all of it.
Right.
Saying it's just like the flu. We all get the flu.
No, he didn't say just like. Right. He said she got the flu.
Got the flu. Yeah.
No, she didn't get the flu.
Saying, what are y'all freaking out about?
First it was she says allergies. And then she was just overheated. Remember? She just overheated.
I remember that one.
And then she was dehydrated. And then she didn't go to a hospital, which is protocol. They took her to her daughter, a hedge fund manager's apartment.
But that's where the grandchildren are.
That's where the grandchildren are. And then she came out and said, it's a beautiful day in New York. I thought it was so hot, you got overheated. And then she came out and kissed a kid and said, and then 5 hours later they go, oh no, she has pneumonia. And now Bill says she had the flu.
Wait, anybody who has the flu knows you should go touch children.
You should go hang out with them.
Yeah. In New York. A New York child, of all people.
They're not exposed to a lot of germs or anything.
No, not at all. I just think it's weird that Bill Clinton's dressed like he went to a restaurant that requires jackets.
Yeah, he did unexpectedly.
Yeah, well,
like, oh, I'm going to put a jacket on. Can you get one from
He's wearing a gray blazer over a red polo.
Red polo.
Which is, blocked by the mic right now. But anyway, sorry. That's
right, yeah, you didn't know you're going to be speaking, Bill? Didn't know what was happening?
Oh, okay, I'll put one on.
Maybe he always wears gray jackets now because it goes with his silver fox hair.
Yeah, he and Anderson Cooper must shop at the same hairdresser.
Oh, him and Andy Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, turns out even some of the horrible MSNBC press is a little upset with how horrible Hillary Clinton is handling her horrible campaign. She can't even pull it ahead of an orangutan who's offended every group in America except white racists. Having a hard time beating that guy. I wonder how horrible you are. Well, here's Andrea Mitchell, Alan Greenspan's wife. Alan Greenspan's wife. Here's what she had to say. I saw this today on the Morning Joe Ball.
Host of Andrea Mitchell Reports, Andrea Mitchell. Andrea, tough weekend for the Clinton campaign. Where do we stand?
Well, first of all, in 1991, Bill and Hillary Clinton could not have afforded to live here in Chappaqua. So, you see, America is a lot greater than it was back in 1991. They didn't have all that stuff that happened after they left the White House.
Isn't it funny that our elected leaders make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars getting speaking fees from the corporations they're supposed to regulate, and now we live in a banana republic? I love it.
Yeah, did I miss something? That's the American dream.
I love it. Remember the guy who used to be on MSNBC who was against the TPP and then he got rid of it?
Someday you too could be paid $225,000 by companies that
you're supposed to be regulating.
Yeah.
So America's better because the Clintons have more money. That was like the thesis of what she said. I didn't miss anything,
because
right?
Because after 1991, she went and sat on the board of Walmart. yeah. She's got more to say.
Look, this was so botched. This was so mishandled. The whole issue of transparency, and this only reinforces all the conspiracy theories. I mean, we've all been trying fact check and pointing out that there's nothing wrong with her. I'm out on the campaign with her. Aside from that cough, she has more energy than I do, or half the press corps, which is a lot younger than her, the rest of the press corps. But the fact is that they have only made things worse because they've helped Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani and all the others who are making such an issue out of her health. But the fact that they did not say anything on Friday when they had an affirmative obligation to the public, to us, after telling us that the cough in Cleveland on Labor Day was just seasonal allergies, which is what she thought. But after she had an exam on Friday morning, they had an affirmative obligation to tell us about the diagnosis of pneumonia. And then the secrecy yesterday, and for an hour and a half, the press corps, the protective press pool, the pool of reporters, which is supposed to be with her just for this kind of emergency, they are kept back at the ceremonies. They don't know that they're not told that she's gone to Chelsea's apartment. Right. Then they're brought there so that we can see her coming out looking very spry, hugging the little girl. And then, 8 hours after this first happened, they finally tell us about the diagnosis of pneumonia that occurred on Friday. I'm sorry. There is an obligation, not written, not in law, but there's an obligation, and Donald Trump is even worse than she is in terms of telling us anything about his medical history. So, we've got a lot of problems with both camps.
Okay, so she caught herself at the end and she started doing the equivalencies. She's like, wait, Donald's happening. That's Andrea Mitchell. There couldn't be anybody more establishment, more in the tank, more corporate. She's the wife of Alan Greenspan, for F's sake. And she's saying that stuff. She's upset. She's pissed off. And that's nice to see. That's nice to see. At least that's nice. That's how bad Hillary Clinton is. That's how bad she is. She takes the headlines away from the race-baiting, anti-Muslim, xenophobic guy who's telling people to beat the crap out of people at his own rallies. And he wants to bang his own daughter. She got the news away from him, the news headlines. She got the cycle. Way to go, Hank.
Hillary needs to go on Dr. Phil or Judge Judy Judge Mathis, and reveal the true nature of her problems to America. Maybe Dr. Oz next week, if he's got an availability.
Judge Joe Brown.
Judge Joe Brown would be good. The People's Court? All of the People's Court.
I would like to see Hillary go on Property Brothers. Because I wanted to see her get redesigned for a long time.
Yeah. More like Antiques Roadshow. Don't know what that means.
There you go. Ron Placone's here. Ron, anything to say about Andrea Mitchell's upsetness with the Hillary Clinton campaign?
Well, I just don't understand. Strictly from a political strategy, the Clinton campaign has an incentive to just release everything because the media is just continuous in this cycle. Why don't they just release it and then just end the cycle, and then that ends Donald Trump's little circus with Dr. Oz, and they can actually talk about him not releasing his tax returns and actual policy issues. Like it's in their best interest to just end it.
You ain't gotta tell me
not for some reason.
You ain't gotta tell me. Hey, so in the wonderful world of Trump, I understand why people are freaking out. They really are maniac Nazis. It's amazing how many people in this country like maniac Nazis. Because here's something he tweeted out. Here's this kid tweeted this out. Donald Trump Jr. He says, "This image says it all. Let's end the politically correct agenda that doesn't put America first. And what is this he tweets out? It says, if I had a bowl of Skittles and I told you just 3 would kill you, would you take a handful? That's our Syrian refugee problem. So where did he get that from? Like, that's the worst thing ever. That's the worst analogy I've ever heard.
I'm sure Skittles is thrilled.
Turns out, Nazi who originated Donald Trump's Jr. Skittles analogy was hanged at Nuremberg.
What?
Yeah, he got this idea. Donald Trump Jr., this is from The Intercept, said, the tweet comparing Syrian refugees to Skittles has deep roots. The concept dates back at least to 1938 in a children's book called Dr. Giffords, The Toadstool or The Toadstool, in which a mother explains to her son that it only takes one Jew to destroy an entire people. One Jew to destroy an entire people. Hitler once said of that guy who wrote that book, one must never forget the services rendered by that's the newspaper he wrote, Strumer. Now that Jews are known for what they are, nobody any longer thinks that Straker libeled them. Sounds like something Trump would say, right? Like, well, now that we all know the truth about Muslims, nobody's worried if he starts a war with Iran or something. And then we're fighting, because that's the kind of thing he does. Like when Dwayne Wade's cousin was killed in a drive-by, he immediately went, see, I told you, these blacks, they're going to like me, because that's how he looks at stuff. So that's what we say about the Muslims. See, I wasn't wrong about them. Anyway, he was hanged, by the way, the guy who wrote this book. He was hanged at Nuremberg in 1946 for crimes against humanity. The judgment read, for his 25 years of speaking, writing, and preaching hatred of the Jews, Straker was widely known as a Jew baiter number 1. In his speeches and articles, week after week, month after month, he infected the German mind with the virus of anti-Semitism and incited the German people to active persecution. Each issue of Der Stürmer, which reached a circulation of 600,000 in 1935, was filled with such articles, often lewd and disgusting. So that was his newspaper, where he would do that. Der Stürmer. Trump's tweet has clear parallels to Stryker's children's book, where a boy named Franz learns about the Jews from his mother. This is from the book. However they disguise themselves, or however friendly they try to be, affirming 1,000 times their good intentions to us, one must not believe them. Jews they are, and Jews they remain. For our Volk, they are poison. Like the poisonous mushrooms, says Franz? Yes, my child, just as a single poisonous mushroom can kill a whole family, so a solitary Jew can destroy a whole village, a whole city, even an entire nation. Boy, those Jews are powerful. You wonder how just one of them just didn't do it, just didn't overthrow the whole nation. They're so powerful. So this is what Skittles had to say. Thanks for reaching out. Here's our response. Skittles are candy. Refugees are people. We don't feel it's appropriate analogy. We will respectfully refrain from any further commentary, as anything we say could be misinterpreted as marketing.
They nailed it. That's a good response.
So Skittles nailed it. Donnie Trump Jr., little Tiny Hands Jr. What is this, man?
It's a pattern, though. This isn't not like a one-off weird thing that just happened to coincide. They're constantly retweeting white supremacist propaganda. They're all about it. I mean, that's Breitbart. That's who's running their show.
Their show right now. Breitbart. Yeah. Wow.
Great campaign strategy.
Great country. So our country isn't as great. I thought racism's over. We elected a black guy, and racism's over. And the problem is, all the people that Barack Obama could inspire to come out to vote for him aren't going to come out to vote for Hillary Clinton. Because even though they're both corporatists to the day they die, Right now, Barack Obama pushed the TPP. Hillary Clinton doesn't talk pretty. She doesn't talk pretty like Barack did. So we voted for Barack. He's nice. He tells you the things you want to hear.
Okay.
Right?
He delivers. I mean, his speech. He
delivers. But he doesn't then.
He has some of the greatest oratorical gifts. I mean, personality traits.
Yes,
for sure.
There you go. So there's the. I don't even know what to say about this. Skittles has got it. Skittles are candy. Refugees are people. Don't feel it's appropriate analogy.
You know, at Starburst, they were like, "Hey, we got to have a meeting in case one of the Trump kids does something with that."
So because there might be some immigrants that might ever become violent or become criminal ever, we should never let any immigrants in. That's what that's saying. Because there's a handful of no, what? Yeah, they have to. What? I don't know.
It's in a way similar to Dick Cheney's 1% doctrine too. His whole thing was if there's a 1% risk that they might have weapons of mass destruction. I might be getting it wrong, but
really?
There was a whole thing as far as how he justified going to Iraq was it's about how much risk are you willing to tolerate is what they're saying.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's the core of that. Right? Yeah, and it's similar to that. And therefore, you should take a completely idiotic, maniacal action that's going to destabilize the globe for centuries.
You know, Jimmy, when you point out something like this, when you say that Donald Jr. Does this tweet, and it's like, it sounds like a joke. The analogy of Skittles and
like
Syrian refugees. You're like, okay, who?
So if you follow his logic, we would never allow any refugees in because I'm sure no matter what country refugees come from, some of those people might be criminals or might end up committing a crime once they're here.
And as long as you're a European attractive model who's an immigrant, you're going to definitely get in.
I wonder how the Native Americans felt about the white guys.
I was going to say that. What percentage of Europeans were they worried about? How many white Skittles did they have?
No matter how many times the whitey tells you he's your friend, they're going to kill you.
90%.
Take your land.
95%. Of those Skittles were dangerous.
Yep. So
it's
weird. It's just a weird thing. It's just weird, and it's weird that like there's grown up people who like Chris Christie stands behind Donald Trump. It's like what?
Right.
What the hell's wrong with you people? And that's why people say, well, there will be no reckoning for people who support Trump because Hillary Clinton's getting in bed with legitimate war criminals. So this is what we're left with. We got war criminals and racists leading us.
What could possibly go wrong?
I wonder why. I wonder why half the country doesn't vote.
One good thing about Trump's resurgence in the polls, he is getting cocky. As opposed to Trump in his humbler moments when he's tagging every vertical surface like a poodle marking its territory, forced to confront the issue of his passionate 5-year affair with birtherism, Trump teased the press with the promise of a super-duper special not-to-be-missed scoop. Oh, boy!
Any moment now, we are expecting Donald Trump to walk into that room there in Washington, D.C., and to make, in his words, a big announcement. They're running just a wee bit late there in the nation's capital, but you can see the Republican nominee has landed.
Jesus, how is Trump going to make the trains run on time when he can't make his own plane run on time? After getting all 3 news networks to watch his empty podium for an hour, like a nest cam waiting for the hawk to return with a dead squirrel, Trump finally came out and set the record straight about the birth of his new hotel.
Nice hotel. Under budget and ahead of schedule. Isn't that nice? This is our brand new ballroom. We'll be having our opening ceremony in October. And it's going to be something very special.
Skip ad! Skip ad! Then Trump spent another half hour trotting out a whole Spielberg movie's worth of veterans to talk about what a hero he is. Their message being that the person who was in the room when Osama bin Laden was taken out is not as qualified to be commander-in-chief as the person who was in the room when Cyndi Lauper was taken out. Gradually, it dawned on reporters that they've been conned like a bunch of Trump University students, which, by the way, is one of the many, many important stories they could have been reporting on instead of doing this.
Donald Trump was supposed to speak around 10 a.m. Eastern time. As you can see, we're well past that. He has the complete national media attention on him right now, and he's just going through his list of supporters, and we're all waiting. Wait, what is he going to say? Well, he hasn't said anything yet, but he certainly has our attention.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
Correct. I also would have accepted, we're very bad at this. Finally, the press got what they came for.
Hillary Clinton and her campaign of 2008 started the birther controversy. I finished it. You know what I mean. President Barack Obama was born in the United States, period.
Oh, fuck you. A decade of racist conspiracy mongering brushed up in a 32-word statement that contained 2 lies, plus one of those lies repeated, and the half-hearted disavowal of the original lie. Even the part where he says, you know what I mean, isn't really true since nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about there. The only word that is not problematic is period, which Trump probably shouldn't be emphasizing given his history with women. The press sat through a timeshare presentation for nothing, and they were pissed.
That was it.
This was absolutely repugnant. None of those words that came out of his mouth were, I'm sorry, I apologize, explaining why he ever did question the birth of the President of the United States.
And guys, no matter what, it doesn't matter. Donald Trump, it's false. It doesn't matter. Whoa, is that Kate Baldwin or 11? Send them back to the upside down. Send them back.
At the very least, make Trump's stage collapse with your mind.
And the stage is falling apart behind us. You can see that.
Anyway, thank you. I told you we were all witches. Having been starved of an actual story, even Fox News turned on Trump like Ramsay Bolton's dogs.
He's a serial liar.
We need to clarify something here, that when Donald Trump says Hillary Clinton started the birther movement, he's lying.
What Donald Trump did today was essentially trick the media into covering an infomercial for his hotel.
That bastard! What made him think he could sneak an infomercial past the watchful sentinels of journalism?
I don't know if you can actually get this shot over my shoulder, but on either side of the podium you see bottles of Trump wine, bottles of Trump water, and a butcher block of steaks, which is meant to represent Trump steaks.
We make the finest wine, as good a wine as you can get anywhere in the world.
Fool us once, shame on you. Fool us $3 billion worth of free advertising, just shame. We'll be right back.
So if you've seen this show, I'm here with Dave Raditz and Steph Zamorano. How are you guys? Good. And ladies. So so if you remember, we did a video about Clara Jeffries. She's the Mother Jones editor who, when she was giving information that millennials aren't supporting Hillary Clinton like she would like, she tweeted out, "I have never hated millennials more."
Oh, wow.
Again, this is what's wrong with the left, right? Well, she's like, you've never hated. You mean the generation that messed up this country is now angry at the generation who wants to fix it? She's not upset like, oh, I wonder why they don't like Hillary Clinton. Maybe we should address their concerns. No, just fuck them. So we did a whole video about it, so you know how horrible. And again, they're not smart. These people aren't smart. Because she's the editor of Mother Jones doesn't mean she's smart. It means she's white and she knows people. And she grew up rich and privileged. It doesn't mean she's smart, because she's obviously dumb. Because she backed Hillary Clinton. She's willing to defend her disingenuously, and she's still wrong. She still doesn't know how to make her win. She's still trying to push people away who she needs to vote for her in November, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and it's happening this year, and it's happening with corporate tools like her. God, it's so dumb. I'm a C student. I'm smarter than this knucklehead. And here's why she's even dumber than you think. So she's angry at millennials. We did the whole video about it. Go watch that video, and we break it down in a million different ways why she's a knucklehead, and she is. And a coward. turns out, in that poll about how millennials aren't supporting Hillary, it turns out, Clara's age group, 46% are supporting Hillary Clinton and 48% are supporting Trump. So again, it's the baby boomers who are screwing up this country and not the millennials. More millennials are voting for Hillary, percentage-wise, than frickin' baby boomers. Clara, you genius. She's the editor of a frickin' lefty magazine. Wow. She should be writing for the Penny Saver. That's the kind of insight she has.
Hey.
I know the Penny Saver's good.
Why
I gotta come down to Penny. I know. I know where you're coming from now. And so this guy, Jar Silver, says it's this is funny because young voters clearly support Clinton and old voters clearly support Trump. What makes it funny is because it reveals Clara Jeffrey and the rest of those neoliberal corporate Democrats for the morons that they are. And it's coming from a dumb guy. So that's the whole thing. I'm dumb, and when I can see how dumb you are, that is super dumb. It's just you're dumber than me. That's how dumb you are, and you're the editor of a magazine. You're a moron. Look at and even the oath that you couldn't even read the goddamn article right. You couldn't even read the goddamn thing correctly. It's your generation, and you continue to screw up our country because you keep pushing this neoliberal, corrupted warmonger down our throats.
I like my stupidity to be better informed.
Dave Roberts.
Howdy, folks. I'm Colonel Sanders, owner, head coach, and marketing director of America's newest professional football team, the Kentucky Buckets. A real team, and not just a marketing gimmick to get buckets of delicious chicken in front of football fans. Isn't that right, starting quarterback? Yes, we are a real team. So watch the Buckets with the KFC $20 fill-up, now available with extra crispy tenders. It's finger licking good.
Hey, I know a lot of people are having a hard time about this election. I am too. I can't believe such a crap sandwich we're being offered. Maybe our system's broken. And here's more of it because everybody says Donald Trump is so crazy because he might start a war if somebody calls him a name. Nobody's called Hillary Clinton a name, and she started many, many wars already. So she didn't even need that provocation. Because get this. I'm reading the International Business Times. They say Clinton says the U.S. should use military response to fight cyber attacks from Russia and China. So now she's advocating military answers to cyber attacks. She's literally advocating for that. This woman is a warmonger. There's no doubt about it. She loves it. Here's what she said. We need to respond to evolving threats from states like Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, Clinton said in the speech. We need a military that is ready and agile so it can meet the full range of threats and operate on short notice across every domain. Not just land, sea, air, space, but also cyberspace. It's just a little bit too much with the military. Come on. We're not fighting anybody. We're fighting these terrorists. And the only weapons they have are the ones they stole from us. Or we gave them. These people, we got to be able to respond like that. We just have to be able to kill people no matter where we are in the globe. Because you know how that always works out for us. The fact that we couldn't react immediately would be a good thing. Because every time we react, it turns out we make things worse. Turns out bombing stuff doesn't fix problems. Hey, there's a drought in Syria. It's causing civil unrest. Hey, let's go bomb that drought. Let's bomb it. That's what we're doing. We're bombing that drought. So I'm bringing this up to show people are so afraid of Donald Trump. Donald Trump still hasn't started one war. He hasn't ordered one war crime. He hasn't excused a war criminal. He hasn't. She's calling for military response to cyber threats. As president, I will make it clear that the United States will treat cyber attacks just like any other attack. We will be ready with serious political, economic, and military responses. She can't wait to start a military conflict.
You know what? When I hear this kind of language from her, this belligerence, to me, I'm just seeing someone reassuring her customers that she's got their interests in mind.
Right.
So she's just basically dog whistling to the donors.
She's a weapons dealer.
Yeah. She's letting all these big, defense contractors and corporations and military people know that don't worry, I'm not going to peace nick this.
Right.
You'll still get your money.
You're right. I think. I don't know. Just that am I making more out of it than I should? But that headline grabbed me. She says we should use military response to flight cyber attacks from Russia and China. Really? We should military. We should send guys over with guns, or she should bomb Russia and China. How should we handle it militarily with China and Russia?
It's a story as old as history.
Yeah, we've been spying on each other they spy on us. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, some poor guy or woman will die. That has nothing to do with any of it.
Right. Hey, just know it's okay to hold your nose and vote for Hillary. Just know you're voting for, okay?